Hi there. I thought I'd hop on and do a small introduction for this video. Back in the summer of 2015, I headed off to Nanaimo in British Columbia, Canada, and I was there to attend the Nanaimo Fringe Festival with a show that I was performing at the time. Anyway, I shot this kind of documentary video, and I think it offers some pretty good insights into heading off to a fringe festival with a one-person show and kind of what to expect, especially for people that haven't been to fringe festivals before or haven't traveled with their own one-person shows. Looking back over this video, I'm very I don't know, nostalgic a little bit. My friend who's in the documentary, Grant, who runs Minion Productions, he doesn't even live at that house anymore in Seattle. And he's gone through, I don't know, 100 different Subarus since then. He seems to always drive Subarus. And he's upgraded his Subarus. I don't know. He's gone through, I don't know, at least 4 or 5 since 2015, at least. He puts a lot of miles on his Subarus. Anyway, I just want to hop on here as a little prologue for the video. It was shot back in 2015, and I was still getting used to vlogging on the road, so to speak. And I just wanted to put this up here because I think it's valuable to see just how difficult it is to get to a far-flung festival. Putting up posters and talking with audience members and staying sharp. I like to keep rehearsing when I'm out there. I never settled into the whole it's good enough. I always feel like I need to be rehearsing as long as I'm running a show. Anyway, I hope you enjoy, and if you like what you see, feel free to like and subscribe. You know, usual YouTube stuff. If not, that's all right. I'll catch you down the road. All right, thanks for watching. In mid-August 2015, I headed to Nanaimo, British Columbia in Canada. I was heading out there to do a fringe festival. I was taking a show that I had written called Cyrano a Go-Go, a one-man show, and I had performed it several times up to this point. Unfortunately, Ruth was not going to be able to go with me on this trip. We usually do our adventures together. When I go out to Fringe Festival, she usually comes with me, but she was teaching summer school, so I was on my own. The plan was to fly from Dallas-Fort Worth all the way to Seattle, Washington, where I was going to meet up with my friend Grant. For this particular adventure, I was flying under his banner, Minion Productions, in order to go to this particular Fringe Festival. I had to check a bag, which I was not really excited about. I don't usually check bags. I usually travel light, but I had a costume, a big cape and a big hat that had to be packed away in checked-in luggage. Grant picked me up at the airport, and Grant's one of those people I only get to see once or twice a year. It's one of my friends that lives across the country, but I'm really excited every time I get a chance to talk to him. We have overlapping interests. We both like good coffee and craft beer, and we talk shop a whole lot every time we run into each other. Anyway, I stayed at his house that he shares with his wife in Seattle, Washington. It's an old historic house from the early 1900s, and in the morning he let me rehearse out in his backyard. The next morning we got in the car and drove straight north from Seattle towards the Canadian border. The plan was to go to the tiny town of Tawasin, which is south of Vancouver and right across the Straits of Georgia on a ferry in order to get to Nanaimo, which is on the other side of the bay.
We got to the border and handed over our passports and told them we were going to be doing a performance festival, and nobody even did sideways look at us. No trouble whatsoever. The trouble started when we got to the ferry terminal. I got out of the car and went into the terminal to use the restroom, and while I was inside, the line of cars that Grant was sitting in moved forward. He pulled off to the side somewhere to wait on me, but I did not know this because I had left my phone and all my electronics in his car. So I didn't know where he'd gone, so I snuck onto the ferry thinking maybe he was on there and maybe he knew me really well and knew that I would eventually find my way onto the ferry. But like a good friend, he waited on me. So he waited on land and I got stuck on the ferry without my passport and without my phone, without any electronics or any way to reach Grant. And I had a pretty good head start on him. I was about 4 hours ahead. A 2-hour ferry trip, and then he had a 2-hour ferry trip. So I had 4 hours to kill in Nanaimo, which I spent exploring the town. Grant took me over to my billet, which is the house that I was staying in. I was staying with some really nice folks named Val and Dave and their son Nico. They put me up in the really nice kind of a guest room, which served my purposes perfectly. Their house was really awesome. Val is an artist and Dave is a musician, and they had artwork everywhere, all over the house, posters and paintings and ceramics and all kinds of neat stuff. It was a very bohemian place and had really nice vibes. They also had a really nice patio out in their backyard, which we drank many beers around in the nighttime. And it was a really good place to smoke cigars and kind of talk and visit. Also, they let me rehearse in their backyard and on the patio, and that was really, really nice of them as well.
Here I am in Canada, finally. I'm in the kitchen of the wonderful people, Valentina and Dave and Nico, who are hosting me, and I'm ready to get fringing. I hit Nanaimo last night, or yesterday afternoon, after a mix-up on the ferry. I got on the ferry, and Grant did not get on the first ferry. And so I had a 2-hour head start, plus the 2 hours it would take him to get across as well. So I had a 4-hour grace time here in Nanaimo, where I just walked around, and about 8:30, 9 o'clock last night, I finally met back up with Grant, and he drove me over to the billet, and I hung out in the patio with these guys, and they're awesome. And today I have a preview and my tech, and then I open tomorrow on Thursday, Cyrano Go-Go. So it should be pretty good. It should be pretty fun. So far, so good. Everybody's been awesome. It's been quite an adventure, and I'm looking forward to getting started.
All the Fringe shows happened at the Harbor City Theater. And my venue was not in the main space on the ground floor of the venue, but the downstairs, quote-unquote, theater. It was really just a room at the bottom of some stairs underneath the main space. But it was okay. I had like a little green room / dressing room to the side, and they put a bunch of chairs in there. And by the time I got there for tech, they had it almost set up. They still needed to put the chairs out and everything. But they had lights set up, and everything worked out okay for my small, intimate little show. Actually, do you have some sort of blue washer or something that could be used as pre-show?
I don't at present, but I'm going to inquire about that.
Oh, Minion Productions, all the way from beautiful Seattle.
I was going to say DC.
Yeah, because I'm tired. We have a wonderful writer performer again, Brad McEntire, who helped put out some chairs tonight, which was
You're looking pretty.
presented narration, McEntire gives a funny, warm meditation on the nature of theatricality, the notability of personal identity, and the hard-won lessons of love, unrequited, in other words. Brad.
Hello, everybody. I should note, I'm working under the Minion banner based in Seattle, but I myself, this is my first time here. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I've been having a really good time since I've been here. So I'm going to do an excerpt of the show, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the context afterwards. So, at the beginning of the play, Act 1 of Cyrano de Bergerac, a naive fop challenges the title character Cyrano to a duel. In the history of literary wrong moves, this is very high up the list.
Just like my fellow performers, I spent the first couple of days walking around putting posters up on my show. A lot of the Fringe performers' time is spent handing out postcards, handing out flyers, talking up the show, and walking out around to local businesses to put up posters for the show. The festival itself advertises the festival. You are in charge of advertising your own show. So that's what I did. And it was good to hang out with the performers from all over, mostly Canada.
Is to be holy, set apart for you, Lord. I choose to be. When I was 5 years old, I loved going to church. It wasn't the experience of getting to see like my church friends or something. That was cool. It was mainly get to sit up in there at that balcony and then stand next to my mom and sing. Sing as part of a community, everyone singing together.
So it's the second day of the Nanaimo Fringe Festival, and I did not have to perform today. It's a beautiful, beautiful evening out here, and I'm between shows. I just saw a show by Andrew Wade called The Most Honest Man in the World, and it was really pretty good. And then I'm going to go see a show about a robot, which, as you know, I'm a very big fan of, here in about 45 minutes. But the Fringe Festival is going very, very well.
Be long, it will seem even longer than it actually is. Make excuses to get closer to the other person. Note, these steps are necessary. Never just ask, "Can I kiss you?" unless you already know the answer. Make excuses to get closer to the other person. Possible things that you can say to increase proximity include, "Is that an eyelash? Eyelash? Let me get rid of it for you. Are you cold? How much shorter are you than me? Is that a falcon on your shoulder? Let me shoo it away." That last one is only for very specific circumstances.
So it's Thursday, the 13th of August, and it's the day of my first show here at the Nanaimo Fringe Festival, and I'm walking away from my billet here in the afternoon, and I'm going to get something to eat. For a Texas boy, it's kind of interesting to be on foot for a change, but I'm kind of exploring the town, and I'm having a pretty good time. We'll see how the show goes tonight. Pretty excited about it. Cyrano not only sword fights the man and mortally wounds him, but he composes an extemporaneous poem while he is sword fighting. For when the poem is complete, je touche, I strike, I hit. He smack talks the guy. He basically tells him how he's beating him while he is beating him. Let me choose my rhyme.
Then it was off to the bar. In this particular instance, it was a karaoke bar. This happened pretty much every night. The staff members of the festival that had been working hard all day to prep for the festival and then do the festival, as well as the performers who had come to town to perform, all got together to blow off steam at the end of the day.
So, Fringe, day 3. And I have a show later today around 6 o'clock in the evening. My Saturday show. I'm hoping there'll be a lot of people there. I am walking into the nearby kind of cafe area from my billet. As you can see, it's pretty cloudy out today. And I had a headache all day yesterday that wouldn't go away. I had a crink in my neck and it was causing me a headache. And the whole group afterwards went to karaoke, and I tried to karaoke and I tried to drink the headache away, but that didn't work. So I left early from the karaoke bar last night and walked all the way back to my billet, which was a good hike, about an hour-long walk. But I feel pretty good today, and it's much cooler outside, which I much more prefer. And I'm ready to keep fringing.
I saw Brad's show today. Now, I've seen about 5 other plays, and this one was better than those ones.
You heard it. You saw 5 other shows. My show was the best of those 5 other shows. Cyrano Go-Go, rocking it out. The troupe had started with me and a bunch of friends, and it became kind of a boot camp for writing and performing our own material. And we performed in at coffee shops and theaters and outdoor arenas and art galleries and people's backyards. And we performed all over the place. And the troupe had shrunk and expanded, and people came and went. And a lot of people had gone off to do other projects or stopped performing altogether, or just moved on. And so about a week before we were supposed to do this last big hurrah, last show, the last 2 guys that were in the troupe with me bailed. And I had a choice, like, do I cancel the show or do I attend the show? It's Monday. I've completed my first weekend and my first 3 shows at the Nanaimo Fringe Festival, and it's a beautiful afternoon, and I'm heading into the little shopping center area near my billet, and my plan today is to work on the other play that I'm supposed to be working on. And I found that while I'm touring here on the Fringe, it's really kind of hard to find time to do other creative work. It's one of the things that's become a lesson for me. It's not that I don't have time. I have little chunks of time, but I don't have extended chunks of time in quiet places where I can sit down and do genuinely productive creative work. And I have all new appreciation for people that somehow manage to pull that off. But that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to work on my other play, take a break from Cyrano Go-Go, and just kind of enjoy this really nice day out here. Find a coffee shop, maybe a table outside.
The first day that I got to town, I snuck into a Best Western hotel pretending to be a guest there, and I found this great patio up on the rooftop, which I remembered, and I went back to many times over the time I was in Nanaimo because it was so great. So my thanks to Best Western. I was not a guest there, but I will speak highly of you all the same, because you had Wi-Fi, which is part of the reason you were so awesome.
There's a lot of seagulls here. I think there's seagulls everywhere. Oh, Canada.
Dave, the guy who provided the billet for me, also happened to be the host of a local radio show. So midweek, he invited Grant and I onto the radio station in order to plug the Fringe Festival and Cyrano Go-Go.
That's how this play is for me. Like I've gone back to it like over and over again.
And it reveals more and more every
Yeah,
time you go back.
yeah. And what's funny is it's like a moving target. So I change and it changes, and it started making me ask questions about the play and one's relationship with a work of art, and on a broader scope, like why is it still around? Why is it still in the zeitgeist in the world of theater? Why is it produced all the time? It's like almost 120 years old. So my play kind of goes over that. With a personal aspect and a historical aspect and a literary aspect. I do little snippets of the play, and I talk about the making of it and all kinds of little historical tidbits and stuff.
Also midweek, I was invited out to a music venue, and I got to see a couple of bands play. Dave's band was one of the headliners of this particular show.
I've now been fringing for a week and a day here in Nanaimo, British Columbia. Saw some kick-ass bands last night, and I still have the day off. I did do some flyering and ran off more posters yesterday and ran around town putting those up. I guess the job of postering and handing out flyers is really never ever done while you're at a fringe. I've definitely been way more diligent about it here at this fringe than I have in the past, and I think I'm going to keep that up. It's actually the best thing to do is to keep up the flyering and keep up the postering, and I've kind of learned a lesson to keep on it. I've been on the radio, and I've talked to a bunch of people in person, and so I'm trying to get as many people to my show as possible. Kind of one of those, if a tree falls in the woods, does anybody hear it kind of thing. If my show is awesome and I do a really good job at it and I work hard to put it together and express it to the world, if nobody sees it, it doesn't count. So I've been working on that this last week and keep pouring it on. And today I have my last sort of kind of day off before I have to go back to rehearsing Cyrano Go-Go and worrying about it. So I'm heading down the street. If you notice, this little stretch of land that I'm walking along is kind of familiar. I'm heading to the local coffee shop to camp out there and get some work done. It seems like on this trip I do a lot of walking around, a little bit of performing, and a lot of hunkered down on patios or in coffee shops, basically doing a lot of computer work. So today should be pretty good. It's really kind of beautiful outside. It's hot for Canada. Compared to Texas weather, this is wonderful. It's like 79, 80 degrees outside, and I'll take it. I'll take that in the summertime rather than 105.
I spent a lot of time in coffee shops. Actually, anytime that I had a little bit of downtime between performing or rehearsing or socializing with the people that organized the Fringe Festival, I would find free Wi-Fi wherever I could, and I would get to work, including on that sweet patio at the Best Western. In the evenings, every couple of days, I would Skype call Ruth, and we'd get a chance to talk. I missed her on this trip. Sometimes I'd hang out with Grant, and we'd both get to work. And anytime we found a really good coffee shop to work in, this was on top of postering and flyering and exploring the city.
I'm in the restroom / changing room here of this place called Anytime Fitness that I found in the neighborhood next to my billet, and I just got through having a pretty good workout, and now I'm gonna jump in the shower and then go work in a coffee shop for the rest of the afternoon. But I haven't been to the gym in a couple of weeks, what with the traveling and the moving. So it was good to get a pretty good workout in. So my day took a lateral turn, and all for the better, actually. So I'm sitting out here on the deck of the Best Western and doing computer work. And I've just noticed while I've been sitting here that the storm clouds are moving in. I may have to seek shelter soon.
Second weekend, more bars, more drinking, more hanging out. I have to admit, I met some really excellent people on this trip. Fellow fringe performers, as well as the staff and crew and organizers of the Nanaimo Fringe Festival. Just kind of outstanding, really hospitable people all around. All throughout the second weekend, I continued to rehearse the show, any chance that I got. The thing about doing solo performances, you're the only one on stage, so if it doesn't work out, you're the one to blame. And I wanted every audience to see the show as dynamic as I possibly could make it the whole festival.
All those things about it that I loved as an adolescent, all those swashbuckling things, the poetry and the sword fights, the battles and the tragic love, I still love those things. Not in the same way. Now there's a little bit more distance and appreciation.
Rob, what did you think of the show?
I thought it was fabulous. I thought Brad's performance was dynamic, exciting. It held our attention throughout. There was never a lull. It moved right along. It was interesting. It made me think about theater. It made me think about this particular play, Cyrano de Bergerac, and maybe going back and reading that and thinking about directing it. Well, it's interesting because the focus is on the original script of Cyrano de Bergerac, but Brad talks about his own life and how he evolved his interests, and there's some life lessons in there that you walk away thinking about and how they apply to you. And it's just a really interesting production to see, and I absolutely recommend it to anybody. If you get a chance, see Cyrano, go.
It was just, it's beautiful that he performs it with so much passion and enthusiasm and skill. It's a wonderful story. It's beautifully performed. I had a fantastic time.
At the end of the second weekend, it was time to go. Grant and I both packed our bags, got in the car, and made our way towards the ferry terminal. It was just about sunset when we made our way onto the ferry. Both of us got on the boat at the same time this time, so that was a plus. Although I've been to festivals and venues all over the United States, this was my first Fringe Festival in Canada. And I have to say, the folks at Nanaimo made me feel very welcome, and I really enjoyed presenting my show Cyrano Go-Go there.
Well, I made it. I'm back in Dallas, Texas. I'm here waiting at the baggage claim because my props and costume pieces I had to check, and I'm glad to be back. Ruth should be here to pick me up anytime.
Hi!
Hello.
So cute.
What do you think about the Fringe this year?
Oh, it's good. It was reassuring.
Sean, what do you think about the Fringe this year?
I like it. I like it even more than Kiana liked it. She liked it quite a bit.
Is that true?
I would say that might be true.
Yeah, she didn't like it that much.
Well,
You could tell her eye was twitching.
That's not true. Let's weigh in with Andrew.
Andrew, what do you think about both those guys and their thoughts on the Fringe?
Honestly, I don't trust either of them. But you may as well believe them because it was a great Fringe.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a like, or consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks.